A lot of games promise player choice. Very few actually make every decision matter. Fable might be one of those games. The latest gameplay showcase revealed systems that are far more ambitious than most fans expected. We're talking fully voiced NPCs with memories, dynamic relationships, property ownership, businesses, reputation systems, romance mechanics, and choices that can completely change how people see you. And if even half of this works as advertised, Fable could end up becoming one of the biggest RPGs of 2027. Let's start with the biggest surprise from the showcase. This isn't just an action RPG. Playground Games is heavily leaning into life simulation systems, and honestly, they look much deeper than anyone expected. The developers confirmed that Albion will contain more than 1,000 handcrafted and fully voiced NPCs. Now that number sounds impressive on its own, but here's the important part. These characters don't just stand around waiting for the player. They have routines. They have relationships. They have opinions. And they remember things. This means people will go to work, spend time with family, visit pubs, and react differently depending who you are and what you've done. Most RPGs create the illusion of a living world. Fable seems to be trying to build one. And that's where things get really interesting. During the showcase, we saw an NPC named Max who worked at a stable. When the player tried asking him for help, Max basically refused because he didn't know who they were. Think about that for a second. The game isn't treating every NPC like a quest dispenser. Your reputation actually matters. If people don't trust you, some opportunities may not even be available. And that's a perfect transition into one of the most exciting systems revealed so far. The new reputation system. Previous Fable games mostly treated morality as a simple choice. Good or evil, hero or villain. This time, things appear to be much more complicated. Instead of assigning players to one side of a morality meter, every action creates different reputation traits. And different people react to those traits differently. This changes everything. For example, during one quest the player encounters a butcher, a child, and a talking pig named Colin. Yes, a talking pig. Because this is Fable after all. The butcher wants to cook Colin for a town feast. The child wants to save him, and Colin would obviously prefer not becoming dinner. The player eventually chooses to save Colin by paying for him. Now most RPGs would simply label that as a good decision. Fable doesn't. Some characters see the choice as kind and virtuous. Others see it as wasteful and irresponsible. And that's what makes this system so interesting. There isn't always a universally correct answer. Different people have different values, just like real life. Now here's where things start affecting gameplay in a major way. One shopkeeper named Megan admired players who behaved in a clever and business-minded way. Another NPC named Rhiannon hated those same traits. As a result, one liked the player more. The other raised shop prices dramatically. This means your choices aren't simply changing dialogue. They're directly influencing the economy, relationships, and opportunities available to you. Before we move on, remember this. Your reputation isn't global. It's local. Every town develops its own opinion about you. You might be loved in one region and hated in another. And honestly, that sounds far more realistic than a single morality bar. Now let's talk about relationships. Because Playground seems determined to make them deeper than ever before. Romance has always existed in Fable, but now it appears to be tied directly into gameplay systems. Using Megan as an example, the player couldn't simply walk up and start dating her. She had standards. She wanted someone successful, someone with property, someone who dressed well. In other words, the player actually had to improve their life before she would even consider a relationship. Most players miss how important this is. The romance system isn't separate from the rest of the game. It's connected to everything: your finances, your property, your reputation, your social status. Everything works together. Eventually the player buys a home, improves their appearance, acquires a business, and finally earns the chance to take Megan on a date. And according to the developers, that's only the beginning. Relationships can progress into marriage, families, children, living together, breakups, divorce, and much more. This is where it gets interesting. Many RPGs include romance. Very few build entire gameplay systems around it. Now let's shift over to one of the biggest features returning from older Fable games. Property ownership. For longtime fans, this is huge. Players can purchase homes across Albion and even acquire businesses. And we're not talking about simple ownership. You can actively manage them, set prices, adjust wages, hire workers, fire workers, track income, and influence how successful your business becomes. One of the coolest examples shown involved a beggar named Jack. Earlier in the game, the player helped him. Much later, after purchasing a pub, they were able to offer him a job. This perfectly demonstrates how interconnected the systems are. A random choice made hours earlier eventually created a completely new opportunity. Those are the kinds of details that make RPG worlds memorable. And it doesn't stop there. When buying houses, players may discover existing tenants already living inside. You can evict them, pay them to leave peacefully, or find another solution entirely. Every choice affects how people see you. Everything feeds back into your reputation. Now let's talk about making money. Because Albion isn't just about adventuring. Players can actually work regular jobs. One example shown during the showcase was blacksmithing. The activity functions as a timing-based minigame where accuracy improves earnings. And according to the developers, blacksmithing is only one of several jobs available throughout the world. If you're struggling financially, there are alternatives beyond simply killing monsters and selling loot. Another major feature revealed was character customization. Albion contains over 120 shops filled with different goods and services. Players can visit tailors, hairdressers, and various merchants to completely customize their appearance. The showcase also mentioned rare outfits hidden throughout the world. And that's exactly the kind of exploration reward RPG fans love. Finding unique gear in dangerous locations always makes exploration feel worthwhile. Now here's a feature that surprised me. The town crier system. If you don't like your reputation in a specific town, you can literally pay someone to spread a different story about you. Think about how wild that is. Instead of spending hours rebuilding your reputation naturally, wealthier players may be able to influence public perception directly. Whether that's ethical or not is another conversation entirely. But it definitely sounds very Fable. Of course, not every player will choose the heroic path. The showcase also demonstrated crime systems. Attack innocent people, cause enough trouble, break enough laws, and eventually the guards will come looking for you. You'll receive bounties. People will fear you, and your reputation will change accordingly. But here's the important detail. Paying a bounty doesn't magically fix everything. People still remember what you did. If you want to repair your image, you'll actually have to earn back their trust. Now let's finish with combat. While the showcase focused more heavily on life simulation features, we did get a glimpse of the new combat system. Playground describes it as style weaving. Players combine melee combat, ranged abilities, and magic to create their own unique fighting style. Veteran fans will recognize the classic pillars of strength, skill, and will returning in a modern form. And honestly, the combat already looks significantly more dynamic than previous Fable titles. Magic effects look powerful, weapon animations appear smoother, and combat seems far more flexible than before. After years of waiting, Fable finally feels real. And based on everything we've seen so far, Playground Games isn't simply bringing the series back. They're trying to evolve it into something much bigger. A world where your choices matter. Where people remember who you are. And where every playthrough could unfold differently. Now, I want to hear from you. What's the feature you're most excited about in Fable? The reputation system, relationships, property ownership, combat, or the possibility of Jack of Blades returning? Let me know in the comments. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.